here we are for episode 4.2.
Of how did we get here?
Yes.
This session's going to be devoted to my only one great, my great-grandfather,
Singularly great grandfather.
singularly great, Herbert Gilbert, Laura May's grandfather, Herbert Gilbert. Here's his picture.
Ah, he has a pretty awesome beard. And
Yes, he
he's
has a
smiling.
beard.
It's good.
He's easy to tell apart from his son, who was my great. I've got it all wrong. He's my great-great-grandfather. I'll get it down
Doubly
here.
great.
Yeah, two greats. And the photo was taken in Yorkshire, Oldham, in Yorkshire Street, Oldham. And here's another picture of him, slightly smaller one. And I'll flick them over and tell you what. I'll leave that one there to flick it over and tell you what's on the back. It says this was received from his sister Florence, who's a spinster in England, in July 21st, 1947. And it's Herbert Gilbert, the father of Arthur Gilbert Cooperoo. So there he is, just in his glory. And here's his bigger photo. This is actually quite nice. I think his eyes tell us something there. They're clear and incisive sorts of eyes.
Yes, that's I noted. This.
Herbert Gilbert in Lancaster, England, the father of Arthur Gilbert, who is Laura May's father. Bridgewater Road, Cooperoo, Queensland. And that's where he was living, but not when this photo was taken. And the writing on the back was done by his son. Now, she'll leave those there, and the next lot of photos can go down close to them. Now, that's my grandmother's grandfather. And here is that gentleman's wife. First, I've got two that are the same. They may or may not be easy to see. Can you tell me which one you can see best?
The one on the right.
That one? Yes. It seems to have been cut out or torn from something. And he's written on it, mother, about the time she was married, received from Sister Florence, a spinster in England, in July 1947. But that's not a 1947 photo. She would have been married in the 1800s. And there's the same photo in lighter colours. And her name was Maria, so she's Maria Gilbert, and she comes in Lancaster, England.
So I'd like to point out that the origin of the word spinster is from spinning wool, and because that was a traditionally feminine occupation, that a spinster as an unmarried woman with an occupation, is that the context in which we're being told
no,
that
I think
in
it was
writing
just
on the back?
a spinster was just the word used for an unmarried woman, and it would have been the word that this gentleman would have used, and his son would have used all the time as well. And it had no other connotation except to indicate to the world at large that she wasn't married. Now,
which of course is incredibly important in the time period we are in, which is...
Unfortunately, there are no dates of taking of these next couple of pictures of this lady when she got a little bit older. So this would be, I'm not sure which way around. Let's say this one's middle-aged. Is that standing out all right? And her name is Maria Jane Gilbert. And I think she has...
I've heard her name.
Yes. I think she has a strong sort of face and a rather straight mouth, but not a sour straight mouth. On the back, received from my sister Florence. This is this man talking, who's a spinster in England, and the wife of Herbert Gilbert and the mother of Arthur at Cooperoo. So that's Herbert, and that's his wife Maria. And here's a picture of Maria again. I wish there were dates on the picture, but he's written mother from a picture painted by Will, received October 1947. But it was Will was the other brother, and I'll get to his siblings in a minute. But I think that's a fabulous photo. And I do admire that she did that with her hair.
It's awesome.
It is. It's awesome, isn't it?
Excuse me.
Here we go.
Put it to the right of the clear photo if you can,
This
because
one?
it's or next to her husband.
Mm.
Yes, there is good.
Look, can it be seen there all right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's Herbert Gilbert, grandma,
Maria-
great grandfather, okay, and his wife,
Maria
one.
Gilbert. But
Maria.
what's her middle name again?
Maria Jane, was it?
Maria.
Maria Jane. I don't. There's a story in the paperwork which I won't get to today, about this one. I'm pretty sure it was him, but I don't know. I don't think he came ever to Australia. So I tell a fib. I'm just waffling. Am I allowed to waffle?
You can
I can
talk
waffle.
about whatever you want.
Okay.
It's your family history, how we got here. Histrionics,
All
after
right.
all.
Now, Arthur Gilbert. This is my grandmother, Laura May. This is her father. So I'll show you this one first. Can you see those 4 figures on there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in that picture, there's Laura, Jess, Arthur, who's maybe the grandfather, and Will. And it's actually quite interesting. The 2 boys are, well, they were young men in this picture. Really don't look the same. The girls have very, very similar looks about them. Laura remained a spinster, and Jess died young. And a little bit later on, I'll find her memorial card.
This remaining a spinster in Cooperoo thing seems to be a popular.
Well, they were in England. It was their brother who'd upped and gone off to the colonies. But
so it wasn't uncommon, is what I'm trying to get at.
Oh, no, it wasn't
There's
uncommon at all.
3 women so far.
Because you had to find the right person to get married to, and they were upper middle class.
So we're thinking sort of arranged marriages and all, but name is that.
Well, not really an arranged marriage, but just say, for instance, if you were with a brother and you had a couple of good friends and you thought one of them might like to marry your sister, you'd make sure they got introduced and press the buttons. And the girls would have had to ask both of them, the young man and the young lady, would have had to ask her father's permission to marry.
That's more akin to my understanding.
So it's not really arranged; it's just getting permission.
The arrangement is more that the families both have to agree that the marriage is in the best interests of both parties, which doesn't necessarily only mean the parties getting married.
Now, Arthur says on the back here that he received this picture in July 1947, taken many years ago when I went home on a visit from Australia in the year 1880. There you go. So this picture and this one, which is still the 4 siblings, just slightly rearranged. So that would have been was taken in Lancaster, England. He came back to Australia in 1882, so he just went home for a couple of years. And on the back of this one is just the names of the 4 of them. So which is, I'll put this one down here. Can I put them on top now? Is that a bother?
Just move them around. You can push them over to the whole other side of the table, and there is fine too.
All right. And this one just has their names: Arthur, William, Laura, and Jessie. So Arthur, William, Laura, and Jessie. Jessie seems to have had slightly paler hair than her sister, but Arthur's got the curls on his hair, almost a dandy. I think my mother might have used that word at one stage or other. But this man was a bit of a dandy.
Could that? Well, we won't get into whether it's pejorative in this time period or not. That's probably a madness rabbit hole.
What, being a dandy?
Any kind of colloquial terminology describing.
Now, that's the 4 siblings, and let's find out what happened to them. Laura Jane, who's the one Laura on here, Laura, and this is her. I don't know what they called these ones, but it's a black-edged card, and it's in loving memory of Laura Jane Gilbert, who died June the 21st. Aged 30 years, and was interred at Chatterton Cemetery June the 23rd, 1893. So that's one of the family taken care of. I'll just put that up there a little bit closer so you can see the words if you wish.
The camera has taken this moment to pause.
Has it?
Never mind. I'm sure it's visible.
Okay, I'll put it down there. All right, now, Aunt Florence, taken in April 1935 at Dewan, I can't work that out, Herefordshire.
Oh.
Now, where did Florence come in? I've lost the plot with Florence.
Well, we're still definitely in England, in Herefordshire.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to put Auntie Florence aside for the moment till I've either got her out of order or I've just completely blanked out about her. Now, this is a picture of the sibling who died at 30 years. So that's this. And on the back it has Laura Jane Gilbert, taken by Mr. Knott of Oldham more than a year ago. I think it's too much touched up. Well, it's been a bit scrunched up actually. But you can see that the eyes again. Beautiful eyes. So that's her and her memorial card. And this is the other sister. This is from my sister Florence. Oh, that's who that Florence is. It's next generation down. I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused. I should have drawn a picture. My sister Laura, Florence sent this. It's a picture of her sister Laura, of their sister Laura, who is in that family picture. Again, and she's got that fabulous hairdo, like her mother. Oh.
Is that a hat?
Well, I think it sort of is. I think they pulled their hair up and then they stuck stuff on top of it. But 495 buttons down the front of the dress. Gloves and the height of posh, I should think that would have been.
Very, very stylish fashion. What, do we have a date on the photo?
No, it just says that he got it in 1947. In other words, because Florence, this lady here, has been sending pictures out to Australia, to Herbert.
Okay.
To Arthur Herbert. Oh, wish they would have different names like John, George and Ringo. But anyway, again, same thing. Have a look. Beautiful eyes. And of course, weren't allowed to smile in photos at that time. So mouths generally came out as lines straight across. And I think I've got a mouth like that actually. Resting bitch mouth? Is that
Oh my gosh.
Oh dear. And this is from Yours with Affection, from Jessie Gilbert. Jessie, sister of Arthur. Okay.
We have a dog
She's
in
the
the
one
photo.
that she has a dog. Yes, we don't know what the dog's name is, but being in English, it's a very big dog. And that's the one. She remained a spinster. Sorry about that. If you're hoping
she has
for
a beautiful dog.
if you're hoping for a wedding in the family.
No, I want to pat the dog.
Is that a bit more visible up there?
Yes, that's fine.
Right.
And now I think you'll have to start putting them on top of each other.
Yeah. Actually, I might move this
And I think
aside.
that all of these to be represented to a 4K camera in a future episode.
Oh, they may or may not. Who knows? Now, what I have in my hand here is handful of cards, and these are all Arthur Gilbert, my mother's grandfather, who died in 1948, and I was born in the beginning of 1949, and he missed me. But there you go. He took later in life, and again, there's no dates of when these photos were taken actually. But he took later in life.
Would you like to guess a
wearing
range of years, perhaps?
No? Like to what?
Would you like to guess? Make a guess when it was taken.
Oh, well, it's not long before his death, so I'm saying if he died in 48, the picture's about 1940.
Okay.
But he took to wearing this sort of uniform hat, sailor's hat or something. So there's a bundle of pictures with his hat on. He obviously felt as though... So it could have been taken during the war.
He also, like a couple of other people, is that a hat?
Yes, he's wearing a hat and he's saluting.
Mm.
So there could have been in fun, who knows. But he also did a bit of sitting. Arthur, my mother's written on the back of them, and all she's done at each time is identify the person in the picture.
Also a dog.
And another dog, yes. Actually, I had heard the name of that dog in days past, but I don't know now. Now, where he's sitting, I believe, would be... There he is sitting there. And that's the house called Glen Gables, where he lived at the end of his life.
I'm just going to come over and adjust your mic.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that better?
Much better.
Much better. Okay. Anyway, the house he lived in at Cooperoo was called Glen Gables, and it's really quite a nice house. And his wife had died, was dead, and he lived there with a lady that everybody called Old Lil. I know nothing about Old Lil except she lived with him. And there's Glen Gables again. You think Cooperoo nowadays, it's a, very tight suburb, really, isn't it?
Is that incredibly windy? Look at the tree.
I'd say it's a windy day, yes.
Do you think that might have been
So
part
they
of
were
the reason
lucky
why the photo was taken?
Yeah.
And you keep saying, all of these people who are living together, and I just it speaks of a lot of kindness that's happening in this area. Well,
I think he and Old Lil got together. Now this photo has got a date on it. It was taken in October 1944. So during the war.
I wonder why.
But the land was subsequently resumed, and it turned into Mum's written on the back that she thinks that's where the school was built at Cooperoo. So here he is again, saluting. This could be at the... it is at Cooperoo, and it was taken in March 1947. So that's when I guessed it might be 1940 before. But anyway, there he is again in that same outfit, giving a salute. And a slightly earlier one. My mother's written on the back holding James Baxter at Fisher Street. Now, James Baxter, you know who the Baxters are?
I have no idea.
Mum's sister Eveline married Cecil Baxter. Okay. And James or Jim.
Neither me nor the viewer.
Jim was their firstborn, and Mum's put 1940 there, perhaps because she looked up to see when Jim was born.
Oh,
because
it's a good year.
Very new
Let's
baby.
write it on things.
Yeah. And there's another one of him. This time there's Arthur, and there's Eveline, my auntie Eva, her daughter Lynette.
Please speak into the microphone.
Her daughter Lynette, her son James, and their cousin Max Barnbaum. You know Barnbaum, don't you, as a surname?
No.
Auntie Flo. That's where you remember you used to come and visit Auntie Flo with me when we lived in Brisbane?
And as a child, you failed to mention her surname was Barnbaum to me. Perhaps, I don't know, you maybe told me once when I was 5. I think I forgot.
Well, now you know, don't forget.
I will probably forget immediately.
Right. And this mum's noted on this about 1944. So, and then here's a close one without the hat of Arthur Gilbert as an older man. And mum's suggested this was taken in 46 or 47. Not a bad looking old chook, but he's not as fun looking as when he was very young. Ooh, come back here, microphone. You keep running away from me. And then the last one I have about Arthur Gilbert that I thought was of interest is at one stage in his life he moved up to the Pine Rivers area, and I'll show you this just now. And he built his own house. Can you see that all right?
Yes, it's coming through very well.
And written on the back he said, hut at North Pine, about 1909, built by Arthur Gilbert.
Oh.
I showed this to Kevin, who of course is a bit of a builder, and he said, "That's not bad." All things, and I think that's actually like a treasure, that particular picture, especially because he's there standing outside the house. If you can near my finger, which I think makes it really, really good. So that's the collection of pictures I have of Arthur Gilbert's siblings, parents, and the end of his life.
If you could just adjust that again.
All right. I'm ready to eat it now.
Okay. Is that the end of this series?
That's all
so
I
we're
have
finishing with the house.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I think we do need to represent these.
Would you like me to just do the pictures again one by one?
No.
What would you like me to do?
Nothing. I think you've done an excellent job, and thank you very much.
Okay.
I'll see you next time.
Yes, and we'll have a look at another section of the family.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Bye.